Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Michael, and with me I have Pierce. And welcome to Peter's Oblivious Opinions, a podcast about anything entertainment, depending on how we're feeling and what we like. This could include movies, music, people, books, saws, and more. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it. So today we're going to be discussing the Green Inferno, the first movie in our third battle bracket that's going to be facing off against Dead Silence.
Oh, those are two real good ones there, hey?
Yes, I'm kind of worried about watching Dead Silence again because I remember it being painful to sit through, but
Well, yeah,
can't wait to get to it.
I remember it being absolutely brutal to sit through the first time.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But a rewatch, it might be even better the second time.
Plus, I got a sinking feeling it's got a secret X factor to it that might help it out in this competition.
It definitely does. Honestly, due to that X factor, I think it might even beat the Green Inferno, but we'll have to see. The Green Inferno was a great movie. I encourage everyone to watch it, just not with children around.
Yeah, don't watch it with children. Please don't. But if you're wanting to listen to this podcast, you haven't seen it, you can listen to this podcast, but if you watch it, this is going to make a whole lot more sense to you.
Oh yeah, and that goes with all our movies. If anyone is listening to this without seeing the movies, I appreciate it. And also want to know if you have any idea what's going on, because our plot summaries are terrible at best.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah, today's plot summary, I'm going to be giving it to you guys, and it's going to be questionable at best. It's going to be
Good.
Right. Yeah, so I'm going to give the summary right now. So essentially, The Green Inferno. It's a interesting movie. It starts off with this, kind of like college girl who's in a dorm room with a friend or whatever, or her dorm room person, basically her friend. And there's like this like protesting group outside, and she kind of like meets eyes the lead of this protesting group, a guy named Alejandro, and kind of, I don't know, I think she starts developing an interest in him. And so she ignores it, and her roommate's really pushing against this group because, they're waking her up in the morning all the time. But then she goes to class, and this guy ends up inviting her to go to one of the protesting group's meetings. And it's not Alejandro. I forget the name of the guy who invites her. But he essentially invites her. She goes, and I believe she gets kicked out of the meeting for some reason. I think because she made a joke or something, and Alejandro takes it really seriously. Anyway, not ultra important, because Alejandro ends up coming up to her and being like, yo, like, well, first of all, she talks about her father being in the UN ambassador for the UN or whatever, and how that maybe he can help. And Alejandro's like, we'll see, and he invites her back into the group when they are going to end up going on this trip to Peru. And they're going to Peru in order to stop deforestation of the Amazon, and it's going to wipe out this tribe that has like almost no contact with the human race. And so their plan is they're going to fly there, they're going to get off the plane, they're going to chain themselves to trees, and they're going to film the whole thing. And the cameras are their protection, because as long as the cameras are there, this private militia that's actually there protecting the company that's deforesting, it won't kill them. And so they show up, they get all their stuff on, they run into this thing, strap themselves to trees, but the main character, her name's Justine, I think, she's not able to like lock her lock, and she starts panicking, and this militia comes flying in, and they realize that she can't lock it, and Sky grabs her and he goes to kill her. It rips off her mask, goes to kill her, and then Alejandro goes, you don't want to kill her because she's the daughter of an ambassador to the UN. and we're live streaming this to the world. And so it goes viral, but of course Justine feels super used because that's probably the only reason she was invited on the trip, is what she's thinking. But they get on the plane and they start flying back home. Most people are like, hey, it was a success. That's about it. And so they get on the plane and it starts going. And then, like, I'm not quite sure what happened to the plane. I think something with the engine happens. The engine shuts down. And it crashes into the rainforest, kills a pirate, a whole ton of other people. Now, that's a lot of explanation for context, because the real movie doesn't start until this point, in my opinion. And so, essentially, what happens is they're looking for a GPS to get help, and all of them get tranquilized, or a lot of the survivors get tranquilized by blowpipes, and some of them get killed by, or blowpipe darts, and a bunch of them get killed. And they eventually wake up, and they're in this cage. Well, they don't wake up in the cage. They wake up, and they're carried to the cage through a sea of people that are, like, grabbing them and stuff. And it's, like, one of the creepier scenes, in my opinion, but we'll get into that. And they look up the thing, and the guy who originally invited her to the group, they watch him get torn apart and eaten alive, essentially. Well, not eaten, but parts of him eaten alive, and then torn apart. And it's really weird, and then they end up eating food that they give them, and they realize that it's him, and it's pretty disgusting. It's actually really, really disgusting. And then Justine, and then all the girls get taken away, and they look at them to see if they're virgins. They realize Justine's a virgin, and they start preparing her for what's called the genital mutilation ceremony, and the rest are returned to the cage. And well, actually, the eating happens after this. But once the girl realizes she's eating her friend, one of the girls, she actually just, like, slits her throat, which is wild, and kills herself. And so they put marijuana down her throat to try and get the tribe members to be stoned, essentially, to be more relaxed. And they try to escape. And Justine and I don't think he was he wasn't the pilot. No, because the pilot died at the start. But another guy who's, like, balding on top, his name's Daniel. They get away, but there's another guy who's the stoner that put the marijuana in her throat. He gets blow darted and eaten alive because Alejandro has turned into an evil guy inside the cage, and he's just all about survival at this point, so he basically sacrifices that guy while the other two try and escape. And they get back to the plane, Justine and Daniel. They find the GPS thing, but they look up and they get blow darted again and are passed out. And Daniel's tied to a stake, gets devoured by ants, essentially, well, almost killed. His bones are all broken too. And Justine ends up getting away with the help of a little boy, who she gave a whistle to when they first got caught. And he helps her kind of get away. And she runs past Daniel. He begs her to kill him. Instead, the little kid kills him too. And the reason that the kid was able to get her out is because the rest of the tribe is fighting against the deforesters now. So it's the kids watching the prisoners. And she gets out, runs into this big battle between the tribe and the deforesters, and she ends up halting the battle with a phone, and she ends up getting flown away by this militia, essentially, she's flown to safety, gets back to New York, tells them that nobody survived, even though Alejandro is still alive, and that's pretty much it. Near the end, they see a little picture of Alejandro. Looks like he's still alive and escaped, and kind of sets it up for a sequel, which we might talk about in a bit. I don't know if that was super convoluted and confusing. It sounded like it to me. It was also really long. But this movie needs that, I think, to explain what it's really like.
Yeah. I thought it was accurate. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to kind of explain the context of the movie. You really have to watch it to understand what's going on. Plus, it's people die in pretty nasty ways.
Yeah.
In this movie, which we didn't really go into.
Yeah, it's
which
hard.
We might go into, but I don't know.
It's hard to really convey how nastily they die with words.
Yeah. When we talk about the characters, we can discuss their death.
Sure, let's do that. I hope you got something out of me trying to explain the plot there, but it is really, really hard to explain this plot without ever having watched the movie. Well, yeah, it's really hard to understand this plot without ever having watched the movie. I've watched the movie.
Yeah. It's like you haven't even seen it and you're just talking about it. No, it's good.
That would be better.
Okay. So, first, I do want to point out an error with your plot.
Oh, go ahead.
Summary. Apparently, which I didn't realize till watching or reading the IMDb trivia, apparently that little boy that saves her or whatever is actually a girl.
Really?
Yeah, which I had no idea.
I had no idea either.
And I just read that here. I was very confused. Also, okay, listen to this. Another IMDb thing. Christian missionaries sang religious songs on their boats as they arrived at the village. They weren't aware that the movie was being filmed at the village and became alarmed when they saw gory props, including skeletons and dead bodies impaled on stakes. They sang louder until they were told about the movie being filmed.
What? The wildest part about that is they sang louder.
Yeah, they're like,
guess we'll just sing louder.
Here. Yeah. Okay.
That's wild. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. I know, right? So weird. There's some pretty good ones here. Like, apparently this movie was based on another movie called Cannibal Holocaust.
Right.
It was kind of inspired by it, which I think is a similar type movie. Anyways, listen to this.
Okay.
When the villagers were shown Cannibal Holocaust, since they never saw a movie before, they thought it was a comedy.
What? What?
That's pretty brutal. Okay, and this is, I think, my favorite one. Eli Roth disclosed that the tribe offered a 2-year-old child to the production designer as a thank you for including them in the film. The production designer politely declined the offer.
What? Why? Why a child?
I don't know.
Now, do you think that's just the tribe's like, we don't want this kid? Let's say it's a gift.
Honestly, it could be. Probably, yeah, they just want to get rid of some kid.
That's wild, though.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's, like, I don't even know what to say. Like...
Yeah, totally,
give a child?
Totally weird. I know, why would you give a kid away? But it makes me, like, reading these IMDb pages makes it sound like every single film ever is just a gong show to film.
It really does. It really, really does. Like, it all sounds like a gong show. Like...
Yeah.
I don't think we've read one IMDb page that didn't make it sound like a gong show so far.
No, not really. That Commando one was amazing. Some of those.
That's my
replaced Bennett the day of and gave a guy, like a chubbier actor, the same costume that was really tight.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Okay.
It was amazing. So good. We could talk about Commando again if we wanted to.
And keep this one named the Green Inferno and just go further into the symbolism of Commando.
I think we should do it.
A deep dive.
That
would be great. We could have a whole series analyzing each scene.
Commando. And yeah. Honestly, let's do it.
That could be a series in itself. We should actually do that, except with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. When we get there.
Can we choose a worse movie to do that? I don't think I'm going to be able to give you any answers on anything with that movie.
Me neither. I don't think the people making that movie even knew what was going
I
on.
don't think so either. Oh, that movie's gonna be so fun to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be good. Okay, maybe we should
Get into it with the plot instead
get
of getting
into it.
sidetracked.
Yes.
Okay, I
Should we
really
rate the
hope that
plot here?
my plot description there was not too long. I feel like it was like a 10-minute description.
That's all right. It got the job done.
Okay. All right. Plot. Now, did you see any glaring potholes in this film?
Um, yes. I mean, the first one I saw was expecting the private military of Peru to not kill them instantly.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no chance that would ever work. Because, one, they probably wouldn't even realize that you're filming them and they
Yeah.
would just shoot you.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, they would just like I doubt they even have I doubt like there's a whole scene where they run in and start try to pull them off trees. I doubt they even go in there and try and pull them off the trees. I bet they just shoot them on the trees.
Yeah, or just cut down the trees while they're chained to them and
Yeah.
then just carry them away.
Leave them. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that was a little weird. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to add another one.
Okay.
Also, the fact that they think that they're not going to just continue cutting down the trees the moment that they leave.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what would happen.
Yeah. I think actually that is addressed near the end of the movie, right? Alejandro, when he's in the jail, I think he mentioned something about, oh, they're just going to go towards cutting it again anyway. Like he was hired by a competing company to get them in there to cut them down.
Oh, yeah. That was... And then, yeah, that was kind of... And then he's like, this is how the world works.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
That makes no sense.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It was really dumb.
Yeah.
Alejandro's annoying.
Do you have any plot holes?
Okay, my biggest one is how they're able to navigate the Amazon so easily when they escape. You know what I mean?
And just figure out exactly where to go.
Yeah, so like, when what's his name there, Daniel and Justine escape, how do they find the plane so easily? It looks like they find it within a couple of hours. Like, that's really weird to me. And then the other one is when Justine goes and finds the militia fighting against the tribes people. All that happens is the little girl, not boy, girl, points her. She's just like, go this way, and then she finds the fight. Like, what? If someone comes to me and they're just like, go this way, I'm getting lost. Like, that's wild to me.
Yeah, that's true. They did have expert Amazon navigation skills.
Yeah. Plus, also, are they not worried about bugs?
Yeah, that's true. There were honestly no bugs. There really was no... It seemed like there was no danger to the Amazon in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Except for that tribe being dangerous in the Amazon. And the fact there was a jaguar at one point, but it didn't do anything. And that's true, because the Amazon would be such a dangerous place.
So dangerous. And they bring up the bugs once in the movie, and the guy's like, oh, I brought DEET, and then never again. And it's like, I feel like they're a bit more of a problem than that. And like, actually, they were such a problem that I believe someone in the movie got hospitalized while they were filming it in the Amazon. I don't know. Let me see if I can find this fact here quickly.
Oh, I think I read that on the IMDb.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Anyway, I can't find it right now, but somebody got hospitalized for them. So I'm like, you think they would take the hint and be like, let's include something like that in the movie because the Amazon's super dangerous.
Yeah, that would make sense, and it would definitely add to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought another thing, like, you know how Justine and that balding guy escape?
Yeah.
Okay, that's when everyone's stoned out of their minds.
Yeah.
So they have such an insane head start.
Yeah.
And instead of just continually, because if they kept running, then they would never get caught because they have such an amazing head start.
That's true.
And they could have gone anywhere, but instead they go back to the plane, which is like, okay, sure, you want to
get the GPS, yeah.
Get the GPS or whatever, but why not just keep going to where the deforestation stuff is going on? Because then you'd be able to get to actual people, and they would probably have like a cell phone or something.
Yeah.
But instead they go back there, and then that's the one place these tribes people would have went to check, and then they get caught again, and then that guy dies. And I'm like, why? Like, honestly, I don't care how dangerous the Amazon is. I would rather get killed by anything in the Amazon than get eaten by this tribe.
Oh, especially
so
eaten
it's really
like that one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Oh, okay. That brought up another plot point, though, that I had problems with. I know it sounds like we're just ragging this movie apart, but maybe we'll talk about some good plot points after this. But, okay, when they put the marijuana inside the girl's throat to get the whole place high, it's still in a bag, right? When they shove it down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't understand how that would get everybody high if it's still in a bag.
I remember noticing that, too. They just put it, I'm like, why wouldn't you empty it into her mouth?
And then shove it down. Yeah. Like, what's the point of the bag?
I really don't know. I guess just too lazy to take it out of there.
I really don't understand.
Yeah, me neither. Anyways.
Yeah.
You have any good plot points?
I'm just trying to think right now if I can think of any good ones. I don't know. I just think the plot as a whole is pretty good. Like, it's a really good general idea for a movie, even if it is based off of Cannibal Holocaust. Just the whole idea of them flying there and then it crashes as they're flying back. I like that. It's not like they get trapped there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, like, as far as horror movies go, this is actually scary because technically it could happen.
Yeah. It's very real.
So you can actually empathize with the people in the movie that are like going through this.
Yeah, it's super scary. Like, it could happen.
Yeah, because like I guess I don't know if we really covered this yet, but for like about half the movie, they're all just trapped in a bamboo cage. Is it bamboo? It looks like bamboo.
Looks like bamboo to me, yeah.
I don't know if they have bamboo in the Amazon. I'm going to assume they do. Anyways, they're stuck in this bamboo cage, and basically the tribe is just eating one person at a time.
Yeah.
And killing them in brutally terrible ways.
Yeah.
Like, it was painful. Like, that first guy that gets his eyes gouged out.
Eyes ripped up. That was brutal. I was like almost in tears. That was so gross. Oh.
Yeah. And then he's like screaming, and then they grab his tongue, and then they cut his tongue off.
Yeah. Oh.
So he's like got no eyes.
Nope.
And then they start cutting off one limb at a time.
It's brutal.
Until he's got nothing.
It's brutal.
And they basically remove all his arms and legs and his head one at a time while he's alive.
Yeah, and it's brutal and super grotesque, but also like feels super real, and I hate it.
Yeah, because you're like, it's like when you watch in a movie, someone gets kicked in the balls and you can feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're talking about.
That's what I kind of got from this. Like, you can just kind of empathize with it. You're like, oh my god, that would be terrible.
Oh,
I think that kind of worst death in the movie.
absolutely the worst, by far. Although even eaten by ants, I'd rather get eaten by ants than be dismembered one body part at a time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, the eyes would be the worst thing.
Yeah. Oh. And, like, it's not even that. Like, you watch this woman rip out one of your eyes and eat it and then rip out your next eye.
Yeah, and then you can't even see what they're doing after that.
Yeah.
You just feel it.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. You just feel, like, you feel someone grab your tongue and then slice it off, and then you feel someone breaking your limbs. Oh!
Yeah, it's so nasty.
That's so nasty.
Definitely worth watching.
It's like we're not making it sound great, but it is worth watching. It's like good for horror movies. It's wild. It's what makes the movies so scary. Yeah.
It's definitely scary. Honestly, the thing about Alejandro's character was just so stupid.
Yeah.
To me.
Do you want to repeat that? I think you actually cut out on
Okay, I was said, like, everything about Alejandro's character to me was just so... He's such a stupid...
Yeah, he is a pretty terrible character. Like, just how he just randomly becomes, like, super bitter for no reason and looks like he has no desire to escape is like, what?
It's like he pulls an Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
When he just immediately switches sides. Which was pretty funny.
It's really weird and brutal.
Yeah. Anyways, maybe we should just rate the plot, and then we can start with Alejandro and the characters.
Okay. Can I just say one more thing about the plot that I was confused about?
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's that one girl that runs to a canoe in a rainstorm, right?
Oh, yeah.
What happens to her? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, they don't actually specify.
Yeah. I couldn't find anything. Well, actually...
Oh!
Wait, I'm reading...
I know what it was.
What was it?
You know when the girl kills herself?
Right.
It's because when she's eating... She's eating skin, and there's her tattoo on it.
Oh! Okay.
That's how she realizes she was eating her friend, and then she was just like, screw it. And then she just broke her ceramic bowl into pieces, and it slit her throat with it.
That makes much more sense. That's wild. That's really wild.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare. And I'm like, why would you go for the canoe? Why wouldn't you just dive in the river and swim to the other side? That's what I would do. I know it's dangerous to swim through that, but I'd much rather do that than get eaten alive by these people.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's
like
eaten alive by these people or by the Anaconda from Anaconda. Which one are you choosing?
Honestly, I'll take the Anaconda, let it slowly eat me and then regurgitate me.
Yeah, me too. And then I can wink at someone as I fall over.
You know, I was thinking they should make a crossover between this and Anaconda where they're stuck in the bamboo cage.
Yeah.
But then maybe it's like a prequel. Anyways, John Voight comes in hunting for snakes and he sees them and then he rescues them. True. And he just like fights the entire tribe by himself.
That'd be wild.
Just stuns them in fear with his weird smile.
This is a weird smile. But if it's prequel to Anaconda, you know who has to be in it? Danny
Trejo.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be amazing. Honestly, you find out that somehow John Voight was working with the tribe.
Honestly, that I wouldn't be surprised.
Supplying people to the...
Supplying people?
Owen Wilson. Oh, I would love to see... Can you imagine that movie, except it's Ice Cube and Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez trapped in this bamboo
Honestly,
cage.
I think the movie would be much, much better if that
Yeah,
were the
and
case.
John Voight could play Alejandro.
John Voight as Alejandro. Honestly, as terribly written as Alejandro's character is, and as terribly acted as is, even if John Voight was in there, it would be better.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
same terrible accent,
Yep.
but I love how there's someone with a hardcore accent in like every movie.
Yeah. It's a big character development point, right?
Yeah,
Their accent.
it is.
Alejandro.
Okay,
Okay.
you want to rate this plot?
Yeah. Now, I feel like we came up with a lot more problems in this plot than we did all of our other ones, but I really, really appreciate the general idea of the whole plot, so I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4
Okay.
because yeah, like we did point out a lot of stuff, but it's all really like minor stuff, and like honestly, no matter what you do, especially in a horror movie, there's gonna be plot holes.
Right.
Like I don't know if it's possible to have like a bulletproof horror movie, and this one does a good job of being scary but also realistic.
That's fair. That's a really fair take.
So
I had
and
some problems just with a lot of those small things and how they affected the plot. Like the biggest one for me is just the plastic bag on the marijuana. I was like, that really put it down
yeah,
on me. Yeah.
but yeah, honestly, I thought it was definitely, as far as horror movies go, I would say one of the better ones.
It's one of the better ones for sure. For sure. I agree. Maybe I'm being a little too tough on it, but I gotta stick with 3.5.
Fair enough. All right, you want to go to acting?
Yeah, acting. All right. So do you want to just go down the list on Wikipedia again?
Yes.
Okay. So we have Lorenza Izzo as Justine, the main character. And in case you haven't watched any of our other podcasts before, we actually make a list from S to F of how we think this actor portrayed that character in the movie. A lot of times it just ends up being a lot of writing stuff in it. I don't know. We do what we want, and we rate them from S to F, where it goes like S to A to B to C to D to F, with S being the highest. So Lorenza Izzo.
Yeah. How did she do?
Yeah. I don't know. I think she did okay. I don't know. I felt like some points in the movie she felt a little flat, but she did a good job of portraying, someone who's new to college, who's trying to fit in, who's wanting to experience life. I don't know. I feel like she did a good job of portraying that. The fear, I don't know if I got the fear as much from her as I did other characters, but maybe that was kind of her role to be kind of shocked and stoic. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I guess she kind of remained more calm than most of them,
Yeah.
I guess. Actually, the guy that stayed the most calm was the balding guy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he absolutely did.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to judge. It's like she really didn't have a lot of acting
prowess. Like, she didn't have any spots to show off how good she was of an
actress. Yeah. Because it's like, really, all you have to do is act scared the whole movie.
Yeah.
But she does a good job seeming like a normal student or whatever at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's kind of alright.
Like, I think she did okay. I don't know. A lot of acting was definitely not a strong point as a whole, in my opinion, for this movie, but I think she did pretty good.
Yeah, me too. I don't really have much more to say.
I really don't have anything to say about her.
Yeah. Okay.
And for that reason, I gave her a B.
I'm gonna give her a B as well. So, okay.
All right.
I think I gave Nicolas Cage a B in Con Air, so that makes her as good as Nicolas Cage in Con Air. I just love pointing out these similarities.
I prefer to think that these ratings aren't relative, or else, Anaconda is going to be the best movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true. That everyone would get S in that movie.
Yeah. Okay, next is Ariel Levy as Alejandro.
Okay, this is probably the only actor I've anything substantial to even talk about.
Okay. What do you have to say?
I mean, first of all, I do want to discuss how he really does switch sides and pulls an Owen Wilson just casually
Out of the blue, yeah.
out of the blue, and everyone wants to escape this bamboo cage, and he's just like wants to stay there and wait.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna chop down the forest and make it there anyway, so they just have to wait and they'll be fine.
Yeah, but then you also get the feeling that he's trying to sacrifice other people to get to that point.
Yeah. But he doesn't seem very convincing to me.
No, me neither. I don't know, like, just the acting seemed like he wasn't inspired in the role. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it just was dull, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't, I feel like he did a good job at the beginning when he's acting as this passionate activist guy.
Yeah.
And I think his character would have been better if
it had stayed
instead of him just being some pessimistic, annoying ass loser the whole time they're trapped, as if he was acting like he was trying to help them escape, but then you found out later that he was really manipulating it so everyone would also get killed off, so he would save himself. I think that would have been such a good reveal in the movie, but instead he kind of just sits there all pessimistic and
Yeah. Another issue I have with his acting is he's supposed to be like this sinister force, like kind of almost like the villain, and even though like the tribes people are the villain, but they're just living their life, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's normal for them, and he's supposed to be like this guy with ulterior motives that's super evil, and it kind of just seems he's more of like a deadbeat instead of that, in my opinion, which is
that's true. He seems lazy.
Yeah, a lazy deadbeat. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's really the vibe we're going for here.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
No.
Yeah, he was not convincing at all about
No, I wasn't a fan. I'm in the same boat as you with this one.
Also, I don't know where we bring this up, if it's in plot, but there's this random part where you just hear the sound, and it's like, can you hear that through the mic?
Yeah.
And then they look at him, and he's masturbating in the corner.
Yeah, that was really weird.
And everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? And it was like just after someone had just died.
Yeah.
And then doing that in the corner. And they were like, what?
That was so weird.
He's like, everybody needs to release stress in one way. Some people it's violence. Me, it's doing this. And then he just keeps going. And then the guy's like, stop. And he starts roughhousing him.
Yeah.
Because he wants him to stop. But he keeps going while everybody's hitting him. And it's like, what are you doing?
It's so weird.
It's so weird. And he would, that explanation, the acting there, I don't know how you act that.
But it's not done well.
It was so unconvincing.
Yeah. It's like the actor was in the character and was reading the scene. He's like, I don't really want to do this. I don't think this is that good. And the director's just like, you're doing it. And he was like, all right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay.
Now it just makes me wish that Jon Voight was in that role just to see that one scene.
That's absolutely a John Voight in Anaconda move.
Yeah, and imagine him just doing that face the whole time.
That like weird gritty face.
Yeah, staring directly at them.
Everyone has to release stress. That's my best John Voight accent, but I can't do it.
In the Amazon, you can die in 1,000 ways.
Yeah, that's okay. This guy, I'm sorry, Ariel Levy. I'm sure you have a lot of other good acting roles. I was going to give you an F, but I gave you a D just because if your character had stayed the same as it was at the start, it would have been much higher than a D.
Honestly, that is exactly the same reason I gave him a D as well. It was going to be an F, but because he had some good acting at the start of the movie and then just gave up halfway through, it spared him.
Yeah.
And yeah, another thing I forgot to say about the plot, which I never noticed the first time I saw the movie.
Okay.
But I think the reason why the cannibals were so hostile towards them and eating them is because they were dressed up as the deforesters. Those uniforms.
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Made that connection, and I think that's why they were so brutally violent towards them.
That makes so much sense. Hey?
Yeah, it makes so much more sense. Because then it's like almost like it's so messed up what they do.
Yeah.
But in a way, it almost seems kind of justified.
It really does, because you're taking away the hope, right?
They're just defending themselves.
Yeah.
And they're like punishing the people for doing that. And there's no way for them to know that they were innocent of that.
Yeah, 100%. That's so wild that you made that connection, and I'm happy you did.
Well, it took an entire second watch through. I think one of them says something that kind of makes you realize it. So I must have missed it the first time.
Yeah, I must have missed it both the first and second time.
But I had thought that was a good plot point.
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
Okay, anyways, so who's next?
Well, I'm not sure. Why don't you tell me what character you want to do, and I can tell you the actor that plays them.
Oh, man.
No.
I'm trying to think of who would be good. Let's do the guy that gets killed first.
Yeah, he's really, really good. What's his... Do you remember his character name? Was it Jonah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it was Jonah.
Okay, so that's Aaron Burns that plays Jonah. Now,
okay,
I was convinced 1 billion times by his acting. Like, he was so good.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was good, too. And just for context, this is the guy that gets his eyes gouged out, his tongue slashed off, and all his limbs removed.
Yeah.
So, and that's the person that dies first. So that's kind of the introduction to how everyone's going to get killed, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I agree with you. I thought he did a good job. He was like,
he did a really good job of having kind of a weird vibe to him, but at the same time being super friendly and nice and being kind of like that, the person you like in the movie, until he gets brutally murdered. Well, not brutally murdered, but cannibalized and alive. And the fear that he portrays is just so like spine tingling. It's unreal how good of a job he does at that.
oh yeah, that's true. He does a really good job of acting getting killed, because he's one of the few people who you actually really get to see their face when they're getting killed.
Yeah, it's not kind of like an off-screen thing.
Yeah, and also he's just kind of a nice guy.
Yeah,
in the movie, and he does a good job of doing that, and it makes you feel even worse that he's the guy that dies first.
Massacred. Although, like, he does seem kind of a little bit cultish at the start when he drags her into the group.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But, I mean, that's probably just his character, I guess.
Yeah, he's definitely, like, the nice guy in the group, which is even worse when he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's also some parts where he's, like, reaching out to Justine because she's, like, kind of sad or something.
Yeah.
Or just feels betrayed, and she's, like, a jerk to him, but he's just, like, doing his best. Anyways, he seems like he acted well through all that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a really, really good job, in my opinion. I don't know what to really say about it other than that, but he does a good job
me neither.
kind of being sympathetic to Justine of betraying that. And you know what's wild about this is I just looked him up here, and he's a film producer, actor, film director, screenwriter, and editor and cinematographer who works with Eli Roth, who's the director of this movie, a lot. But I'm looking at all of his filmography. His last movie was in 2016, and he's only acted, it seems, in 4, maybe 5 movies.
Oh, really?
Which is insane. The rest he's been like director, compositor, stuff like that.
That's kind of funny because he was like a better actor than everyone else in that movie.
Oh, much better. Yeah. I found that really funny. And, you know, that's actually going to factor into my rating, I think.
Oh, yeah, I guess he did pretty good for having, like, no experience, essentially.
Yeah. Are you ready to rate him?
Yeah, we can rate him. There's really not a lot to go into for these characters, because this movie is not about character development. It's just about trying to survive.
Yeah. Aaron Burns, I gave him an A.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give him an A, too.
Yeah, he does really good. Now, there's actually... we should probably move on from characters since it's not one of the biggest things in this movie, but there's one
I agree.
bring up.
Yeah.
We do. And it's Sky Ferreira, who plays her roommate.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I was thinking about that, too.
Yeah. Roommate Casey. I think that's the roommate, right? Casey?
Honestly, I have no idea. But I know you're talking about the roommate, so...
Yeah. She does a really, really good job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I was convinced that she was the wild roommate that is super cynical of the world. Like, 100%.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, she's probably the smartest person in the movie.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't even go on the thing. So she's only in the first, 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. And she did a really good job in those 10 minutes.
Yeah, she was like a memorable character after only 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And somehow a way more interesting character than some of the people that are in there for most of it.
Yeah. She's like way more interesting than, Alejandro, even, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Much, much more interesting. Or like the girl who runs to the canoe, or the girl who slits her throat. She does much more interesting than them. Or like the stoner guy, even. Like... Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It left a big impact on me in those just 10 minutes. So I don't want to spend too much time on her, but I'm giving her an A as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give her an A. I think we're pretty much in agreement on these ones.
Yeah. Now let's see if our overall rating is in agreement.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay.
What?
She is in a movie called The Trust with Nicolas Cage, or starring Nicolas Cage and Elijah Wood. And now I need to see this movie.
You wanna write that down so that we can include that in some of our other ones from now on? Because I feel like that will be really awesome to watch.
Yeah. Movie with Nicolas Cage, Elijah Wood, and Sky Ferreira.
There we go.
Okay. Didn't mean to go off track there, but I thought it had to be mentioned.
Absolutely, it did. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as much as Aaron Burns and Sky Ferreira, we gave them A's for their performance, they were only a small part of the movie, even though they left a big impact. Lorenza Izzo does a pretty good job, but it's nothing exceptional. And just how bad that villain is, I actually gave this movie a failing grade. I gave it 2 out of 5 in acting.
Wow. Okay, I was also thinking 2 out of 5.
Were you
For
really?
the same reason. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Man.
We're on the
So we're
same page.
we're right on the same page for actors.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
honestly, yeah, it deserved a 2 out of 5.
Yeah. You know what? Just because I don't want to give it an even number, though, I'm going to give it 2.1 out of 5.
Wow. I feel betrayed. No, that means you rated it. Okay, you gave Anaconda 2 out of 5 for acting. So you just gave Green Inferno 2.1. So it's slightly better than Anaconda. That's rough. Feel bad for Ice Cube and Owen Wilson there. And John Boyd outacted by Alejandro.
What do you think I should bump it down to 1.9? I don't think it's that bad.
No, we're committing to it.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways, what should we move on to next? You can decide.
Do you want to do soundtrack?
Sure. And when you said that, it made me realize that I literally can't remember anything about the soundtrack.
That's why I went to soundtrack. This has one of the least memorable soundtracks I've heard in a movie ever. Like, not to discredit whoever made this soundtrack, I'm sure it's pretty good if you listen to it on its own, but just like in the movie, it had no influence on me watching the movie at all.
That's true. Did they even have music?
Well, I looked it up, and it does have a soundtrack with 9 songs on it, varying in names from Janitors to Escape from the Green Inferno and A Real Smart Dude. But like,
and Dale Que Dale.
Yeah.
By Juan Zambrano.
Yeah. It's like, again, like I really had no influence. Like even a lot of times you can even like remember the credit song, and I didn't. The credit song had no impact on me. I don't remember any of this soundtrack.
Me neither. I honestly couldn't even tell you any part of it, which makes it kind of unfair to rate the soundtrack, but at the same time, you're right. It's like not memorable at all.
Yeah. Now, I think in the context of this movie rating, this is what I've been doing, is how much the soundtrack affects my viewing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's how we should rate it.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you rate it on how it affects my viewing.
Yeah, it's all about you.
Yeah, everything. I'm joking. But like, because I just think, like, I just don't know enough about the soundtrack to rate it musically. And that's what's been throughout every other one, has just been, like, I think I've unintentionally been rating it that way through the other ones as well. Because that's just what I remember from watching the movie.
No, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can't really talk about the soundtrack, so.
I can't either, and for that reason, I don't think it's fair to give it a 0, because it did have music. But I'm going to give it a 0.5. Actually, 0.7 out of 10.
Okay, I'm giving it a 1.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a pretty
5, not 10.
Pretty devastating rating, but
it's fair though, because it's just like not.
Yeah, it seemed to have 0 impact, but at the same time, did it need a soundtrack?
That's the problem, is I don't think it needed a soundtrack, but soundtrack's one of our ratings, so I don't know what to do about that.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Instead of a 1, just because it's almost like it was scary enough
that it didn't need a soundtrack.
Yeah, it didn't even need a soundtrack.
That's fair.
Because if I think about when the guy's getting brutally murdered,
yeah,
like the first guy, like I feel like if you have music there, it could almost take away from it. Honestly, because it would almost make it seem less real.
That's super. That's a super observational point, and I really like that. You bumped it up by 1?
Yeah.
Bump mine up by 1 too, because I think that's a really good point that you just made there.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. I never expected that to even come up in a movie, but it's like the choice not to have an impactful soundtrack could be an actual artistic choice. So, anyways, like we say in the title, we're oblivious, so...
Yeah, this could be like the best soundtrack you've ever heard in your life, but we have oblivious opinions, so...
Yeah, and I can't even remember it. Yep. But maybe that's why. Anyways, we can move on.
Okay.
Let's go... What were we going to say?
I was going to say, what do you want to do next?
Let's do costume design.
Okay.
And...
I'm a big fan.
Oh, me too.
They do a real 100% job.
Yeah, they do an amazing job. Like, all those, like, the village. And, you know what? They used a real tribe.
Yeah, they did.
In the movie. Which...
is unreal.
Yeah.
And, like, just, like, the costume design of having one guy, the warrior, being painted a different color than the rest of the tribe, and the leader being painted a different color, and then the virgins being painted a different color was super cool. Really good that they did that. Not, like, really good that they did that, but it was, like, really showed the social systems of inside the tribe by doing that, and really, without even any dialogue, painted a picture of how the power was distributed within this tribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was super cool. Plus, the private militia looked scary as all heck as well.
Yeah, they definitely look like a private militia.
Yeah.
And I also want to include in here, like, because you don't really have this anywhere, but the special effects of
unreal
people, like, dying, like, it honestly looks real.
And, like,
it doesn't look fake at all.
It looks so real. And they were only on a budget of $5 million, if you can believe that. And it looked so real.
Yeah, they do an amazing job.
Amazing.
So
I say we include it in there since it's such an impactful part of the movie and we don't have a category for it.
Yeah, I would say costume designs like that and, like, makeup. Yeah. And I guess that would kind of go under makeup.
We're doing it. We're oblivious.
True. Very. Yeah, I don't really have much. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about it, but costumes were great. And yeah, definitely the deaths looked realistic.
Oh, yeah. If we're talking about, like, special effects and stuff, that plane crash scene was unreal good. So
yeah, good. And then that guy dies from the thing going through his head.
Yeah. And they're all, like, falling. It was so scary, the screaming. And the thing goes through his head, and then one guy throws up even too. That was super cool.
Oh yeah, while they're in the air. Oh, Jonah. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Like, I was a big fan of that plane crash special effects scene.
Yeah, it makes it, like, believable.
Yeah, super believable.
The way they did the costumes.
Super duper believable. Yeah, like, honestly, I'm really tempted to go to the top of our scale here with this costume design and how impressed I was with it. Like,
yeah, honestly...
Sorry, go ahead.
I think I'm going to give it a 5.
I'm giving it a 5 too. Like, to be able to portray a part of the story with just the costume design was great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just love how real everything looked.
Yeah.
Like, it all looked like this, other than Alejandro's weird masturbating in a corner thing, which no one would ever do.
Yeah.
This movie could be, like, actually believable.
Yeah. Super duper believable. Except for that, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like grotesque and over the top, but not to the point where you think it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, it's possible.
Yeah. Totally. And you know what? Okay, while we're on this,
Yeah.
I'm going to bump up my actors rating by a point
Okay.
because I just realized that all the village tribes people were acting in it. They all had probably never acted in a movie before,
Okay.
and they were scary as all hell.
Okay.
And I think they all did
They did do a great
a
job.
really good job of being like actually scary, and were probably better actors than Alejandro. So I just want to give them some extra points for that.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Now, did you take into account me not bumping them up with those extra points?
What do you mean?
Like, if I don't give them extra points for that.
That's fine. I'm just talking about my rating.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm definitely messing around with these ratings a lot, but I don't care.
You want to bump mine up a half point, because that is, like, I feel really bad not giving them extra points for that, because they did a really, really good job being first-time actors, all of them.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? I really, for some reason, it just didn't, like, I didn't think of them as actors.
Yeah, me neither. They seemed real.
Yeah, it seemed like, you know how, like, you wouldn't really, like, a ghost in a movie, you wouldn't really think of them as an actor?
Yeah.
It's, like, kind of like that, where they're just the bad guy, and
Yeah. And they, like,
I don't really think of them as actors.
they do a good job of being scary.
Yep, faux show. Okay, I'm done manipulating my past ratings.
Okay.
Where should we go from here?
There was just one more thing I wanted to mention that was super underrated part of the film with the costume design that I was impressed with as well.
Oh yeah,
Just the special effects it is. When Alejandro's girlfriend gets an arrow through her head there, that special effect is so good in my opinion. Like, it's scary, it's sudden, it's like real, and I was just very impressed by that. And it's not something that's really lingered on, so it's not one of the more over dramatic parts of the movie, but I think it's just like one of the better done special effects.
yeah. You know what? I didn't even think of that, but yes, it definitely is.
Yeah, just the hole and everything. It's
Yeah. Oh, and it goes through her throat.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, we need to move on before I
Okay.
sick.
Yeah. Let's. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's do Donnie.
Donnie.
This.
I'm not seeing any connections
know.
to Donnie here. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I really am not seeing connections at all. I'm gonna look up quick on IMDb.
There's a character named Daniel. Starts with a D.
It starts with a D. Okay. Is there anyone? There's Don.
There's a Daryl that stars in it that also starts with a D.
Okay, wait. Daniel. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much to go off here for the Donnie category.
Nothing that immediately jumps out at me.
Yeah, which is really what it's all about.
Yeah. Now, for the 2Ds, I'm going to give it a 0.05 out of 5.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 0.01 out of 5. Because I'm not as generous as you, but you know what? Maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll come in clutch against Dead Silence here.
Somehow I feel like that's not going to happen against Dead Silence.
Yeah, I think... well, we'll see. Dead Silence, I think... It's going to do well in one category, but I think for all the other ones, it's going to be 0 out of 5.
It's
We'll
gonna be
see.
close to 0 at least.
Yeah. We'll see.
Oh,
Honestly, I'm looking forward to watching it because it's going to be terrible.
so bad. So
Anyways,
make
don't
sure you
want to
tune in for
spoil
that
it.
episode.
Yeah. Tune in. We're going to be great. It's just the movie that's going to be terrible. But you know what? We encourage you to watch it before the next episode comes out.
Yeah, please do. Please do. It's a great movie. It's an instant classic. It's going to be the one that's studied in film schools years and years and years from now. I honestly,
Yeah,
yeah, it's it's a magnum opus of everyone who worked on it.
it really is.
Yeah.
And you know what? What's that guy that made that movie, The Room?
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau is probably jealous of
Dead Silence.
Dead Silence.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised either. Could you imagine Tommy Wiseau in Dead Silence? Could you imagine Tommy Wiseau as Alejandro?
Just masturbating in a corner. That's what my mind keeps going to. That would be so funny. And he's got the accent to pull it off.
Yeah.
What if every movie we watched with a character with an accent was just replaced by Tommy Wiseau?
That'd be insane.
I think he'd do a great job in Anaconda as John Voight.
He would be on John Voight's level for sure.
Yeah, I think he would do horrible though in Con Air as Cam.
Yeah.
The main character.
So bad. The movie would never make it to theaters if he did that.
Yeah, or Commando as Arnold Schwarzenegger with his accent.
I'm very tempted
Come
to
over
try
here and find out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, hi, Bennett.
Oh, hi, Bennett. Blow
hi,
off some
Jenny.
steam, Bennett.
Let off some steam, Bennett. Okay.
I lied.
Oh my god, I wish. Honestly, that's gonna be heaven just watching Tommy Wiseau in all these roles.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you know how we already started a petition with Steve Buscemi there?
Oh yeah.
I think we need to start a petition to have Tommy Wiseau star as each character with an accent in all these movies.
I agree.
Yeah.
Get all the original actors to play all the other parts, but just put in Tommy Wiseau.
Just reshoot everything. Don't even green screen him in, just reshoot everything.
Yeah, reshoot everything. De-age everyone like 20 years.
Yeah, well, CGI can do it all.
That's true. Okay, so should we move to cinematography?
Yes, we are getting real long here.
Yeah, we are. So let's keep it going. Okay, cinematography.
I think it was pretty average in my eyes. Showed off the beauty of the Amazon pretty well.
Yeah. But you know, I'm thinking though, if you think about that guy's first, like Jonah's death,
yeah,
and how good the angles were to really
they're really good,
make you feel how terrible. Like they made sure to show everything.
Yeah,
and I think they did a really good job portraying everyone's deaths through cinematography.
I think they do. You know what? I think you're right with that, especially like when she slits her throat, she's kind of in the back corner. It's kind of like how everyone would see it. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, that's true. It would just be like so unexpected. So she wasn't really in focus. She kind of just did it.
Yeah.
Which exactly how everyone else would have reacted. Yeah. Wow, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's really good. It's like not the point's really good. It's really good that the cinematography did that. Yeah. Yeah. Another thing.
They actually
go ahead.
Yeah.
Actually,
I was gonna just say that they actually used cinematography to tell the story as opposed to just filming what's going on.
You know, I don't know. I went into this thinking that it was mediocre, but now that you have me thinking about the story and how it connects to the cinematography, I'm starting to see why you think it's so good. Like another thing that I
Yeah.
just thought of right now is, when Daniel and Justine, they escape, right? And they're by the river there, and she falls into the river, right? And Daniel
Oh
goes to
yeah.
try and save her. Well, like, something I just realized is that they do a good moment where I think the camera pans to the river and you don't see anything. And it's like, it's a real good moment to panic. And I feel like the cinematography really shows that panic. 'Cause it's not like the voice of the guy going, Justine, Justine, like that's good and all, but having the camera pan like that and seeing absolutely nothing, like she's gone, that's, I think, really, really good. And they do a good job of having the relief as well. When she comes up, they cut away from that. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good point. That was such a weird. Actually, you know what? I guess that's the one part where they like kind of show the danger of the Amazon
True, true, true.
outside of it. Um,
Yeah,
but I'm not going to touch any ratings on that. But that is a good point, and
yeah,
that's just another example. And like you were saying before with the plane example too, the way they shot that was really well done.
yeah, it was. With the pole coming in through the window, with everybody floating up in the air, the
Oh yeah,
angles they
that was
were
so unexpected. That
so
pole.
unexpected. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. They do a really, really good job of cinematography now. I was on the mediocre side, but I'm going up. Now, I don't think that it's aesthetically they could have done better in my opinion, so I don't know if I'm going to go all the way with it, but I'm definitely bumping up from where I had it.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I imagine there's more, but
Yeah,
they did a really good job of showing the brutality of all the deaths,
absolutely.
which I think is really important for this type of movie.
Super important.
All right, I'm ready with my rating. What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a 4.3 out of 5.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Fair. I mean, I was in 3 range before you talked about how it helps tell the story. So
All right, damn. I'm really putting one in for the team there. Raising your ratings left and right.
yeah, you're convincing me today. I guess maybe I'm just in a convincible mood. All right. So what do we have left here?
That's general experience.
General experience. I'll let you go first on this one because I believe you're a bigger fan of this movie than I am.
Okay. I think that this movie was a good horror movie, and it did a really good job of seeming like realistic. And even though I watched it for the second time,
Hmm.
I could still feel like the intensity of it.
Right.
And even though Alejandro was kind of weird and kind of a not the best acting, I think overall the movie was still told really well. And I think it, and you know what? I didn't think once that, oh, when's this movie over? Like it kind of
Right.
keeps you interested the whole time.
Right. Those are good points. Uh, See, like, I don't know. When I first watched this movie, each of us have watched this movie 2 times. If you haven't picked up on that by now, but the first time I watched it, I was a huge, huge fan of it and the intensity in it and the concept of it and everything that happens. Um, like, I was putting it in my top 5 for horror movies for a long time. Um, but the second time I watched it, it kind of fell off my radar after a little bit. And the second time I watched it, I just wasn't as captured by it. Like, I don't know if it was the mood I was in or something, but I think the acting really threw me out of it. Like, I just had a lot of troubles with the motives of Alejandro and stuff. And I don't know if I'm analyzing it too much while I'm watching it, but I just wasn't as caught up in it. I'm still a big fan of it. I still really, really enjoyed it at the time. I still think it was really, really good. And again, I didn't see myself asking when's it going to end. I just wasn't as happy with it, if that makes sense. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I honestly agree with you. I think the whole Alejandro storyline was honestly the weak point of the movie.
Yeah, me too. I think they could have done without the Alejandro storyline if it was just or even just like not making Alejandro go bad, or not even bad, become a bum or whatever he becomes there. Like, not a bum. I don't know. Like,
I honestly think it would have been better if he was like he's clearly selfish.
Yeah.
But if they made it so he was manipulating people's and like sacrificing them without being so obvious about it, and then they kind of figure it out, because that would be a whole other layer of like
evil.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think it was kind of a wasted opportunity for his character.
Everything it's like Alejandro was wasted.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know. Do you want me to give my rating first, or do you want to give yours?
You can give yours first.
Okay. I gave it a 3.8 out of 5.
A 3.8 out of 5?
Yeah.
All right, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, we're really close on that.
Yeah, we are pretty close on that. I was surprised you gave it that high, honestly, but
I enjoyed it. Maybe I just like movies.
Yeah, could be. Anyways, I'm not going to go through each category and compare.
That's
just because I feel like it just takes time. It's kind of unnecessary.
Okay.
I'm just going to say the high points and the low points.
Sounds good.
The high point was costume design, because they did a really good job with all that, and the special effects and all that stuff, and the makeup just all looked so real.
Yeah.
And I think the low point, besides the Donnie, would probably be the soundtrack, which we kind of gave a 2 and a 1.7 out of 5.
Yeah.
Mostly because it just wasn't memorable. But anyways, overall, I ended up giving it a 3.22 out of 5. You gave it a 3 out of 5 overall.
Okay.
So the average was 3.1 out of 5.
How does that stack up with some of our other movies, just for context?
Okay, Doom was 3.38.
Okay.
Green Inferno was 3.1.
So that's, I feel like, you know what? I feel like we said this last time, but I really feel like this reflects the movie really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Which is interesting, because we add in this Donnie category.
Yeah.
So it's like everything else we're over generous on every other category, and then the Donnie categories brings everything down back into equilibrium.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Is the most important.
It works. Honestly, it is. The Donnie category is essential.
Yeah. Essential to our ratings.
Definitely. But yeah, so we'll see how it stacks up against Dead Silence next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to that.
Me too. I honestly think, though, like, this movie could have had maybe a little bit of a higher rating if we're thinking of my like, of where I thought it would end up, but I think 3.1 is as fair as it gets for it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll close it out here.
Yeah. What do we want to say this time?
Any good quotes from the movie? How about some people, or what do you say? We all relieve stress in different ways.
Why don't we just say stress?
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to give a quick outro there, Mike.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a great day. Have a great night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And see you next week with Dead Silence. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a good one.
Stay tuned. Thank you to our one unique viewer there who keeps pulling their weight.
Yep.
Watching at least the first. I think they might be up to at least the first 10 minutes of the podcast as opposed to the first 5. So we're doubling our numbers here. This is great. Tell your friend if you have one.
Yeah.
And
share this with someone who enjoys cannibal movies.
Yes. Cannibals, non-cannibals, all of them. All of the above. Share it with them. It's a great movie.
It's really, really good. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's end it out.
All right. Do you want to count down?
Yes.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Stress.